I'll say good morning because it's very early here and I have to be in class in a bit. I'm Mark Frydenberg from Bentley University in Waltham, Massachusetts, which is a business school just outside of Boston. Here we are. And I want to talk with you a bit this morning about some work with virtual reality that we've been doing at Bentley, some of which is familiar to Diana because part of it is our project with her, and also some of which is brand new this semester for us. You may be familiar with the TalkTech project that Diana and I have been working on for the past several years, where we pair up students at Bentley with students at Timisoara to examine or visit cultural places of interest. Here, these students are at the Bentley Arena, a sporting facility, and they created a scene telling us about that and about the hockey game. And then after that scene ends, the students click over to the athletic fields in Timisoara. This is a project which allows students to use a tool called CoSpaces to create virtual reality scenes, and in the process of doing so, they develop digital literacy skills and work as members of international teams. So that's been a fun project for us to work on for the past several years. I also want to share with you another project that I've been doing at Bentley. Last year, I taught a course called Meet Me in the Metaverse, where we had students learn about the metaverse from perspectives of business, technology, and society. And their project was to use a tool called Frame VR to create an interactive space based on a book or a TV show or a movie that was of interest to them. So this is a scene based on a crime show in the United States on television, where they recreated that scene in virtual reality. Then they could actually meet. You can see one of the avatars there in the corner, where they could actually meet in the space, in a virtual space. This semester, we've been working on a project learning about how students understand the metaverse. We can see that as a result of the course, their knowledge increased on different topics. And the most interesting things were that they really wanted to explore more virtual reality with headsets, and they felt prepared to follow the news about the metaverse in the news. But there was a bit of iffiness at the bottom about whether or not the metaverse was a good idea, or that it would be useful to them personally. That may change as technology improves. We learned that students were skeptical, and that they needed to get in their headsets more to make the topic much more real. And we also discussed the possibility of actually meeting in the metaverse. And a year ago, I said we're not there yet. We may actually be closer to that today than we were a year ago. We've spent a bit of time this semester using a tool called Body Swaps, which is a tool for doing technology training on essential life skills, such as role playing in interviewing and effective communication. And Bentley was one of 15 schools chosen to take part in this virtual pilot project. Here you can see some students in VR using the Body Swaps software. We received an invitation from Meta to participate in this project, in which we would be testing out both the Body Swap software as well as software for managing a collection of VR headsets on a network. And so our students at Bentley created this process diagram describing the work we had to do. First was unboxing and labeling all the headsets, then configuring them all to work using multiple device management software. Step 3 was setting up the application. Step 4 was configuring all the headsets and testing it. Then there was some training involved, and finally leading pilot sessions with over 150 students, faculty, and staff to give them an introduction to immersive education. Here you can see we have a bunch of students taking part in a class, taking part in this VR pilot project that we did with Body Swaps and Meta. We learned in the process of doing this that there are different forms of immersive learning. The simplest is simply watching a video going on a field trip that can transport you to another place that adds value that you otherwise couldn't do on your own. Another is exploring websites and images that allow you to engage with the material on a deeper level. And then even more than that, participating in discussions with classmates all over the world. I'll show you an example of that in a moment. And finally, taking part in simulations that allow you to experience different career paths or principles or historical events. So these are different forms of immersive learning, and we're beginning to explore many of these. This is a quick look at the body swap software that we stick with. You can see that you start with an avatar. You're in a room. The avatar asks you questions, and you answer them. And then at the end of the experience, the avatar and switches. The scene switches, so you can see how you looked in that and how you performed in the interview. You can see how whether you were speaking too quickly. It applies AI to the terms that you've to your experience to tell you whether you spoke quickly, whether you stuttered, whether you didn't make eye contact, things like that. We're exploring the possible use of technologies like this in our career education courses. So you can tell it looks at your articulation, your body language, your speech, your eye contact, and gives you feedback so you can improve using VR to prepare for a real to to prepare for a real session. Bentley partnered with Meta and Body Swaps. As I said, we were one of 15 schools selected for this project, and we were the only school in which students managed the entire process from unboxing through training and delivering the training to, as I said earlier, over 150 faculty and staff throughout the month of October. Here we see people from different aspects of the university, everywhere from career services to diversity, equity, and inclusion to a financial accounting course, cyber psychology, information technology. Students from across the university participated learning design in this pilot. And we're really empowered to learn through this immersive environment. The device management software that we used was able to tell us by looking at all of our headsets which ones were on, which ones were off, what their battery power level was, things like that. And so that made it much easier to manage the network of devices on all at once. We learned that students find it immersive learning to be a positive experience. Faculty need to get used to it. They can explore new ideas and scenarios in a controlled space. It develops teamwork and critical thinking. Finding content that meets university learning goals is a challenge. Uh, Many schools now have a VR lab in the same way that 30 years ago we had a computer lab and you would go to that space to use your VR equipment. It's only a matter of time, and many schools are beginning to give out VR headsets to students to take home and use them for immersive learning remotely. Immersive learning is valuable when it adds value that can't be accomplished with other digital media or formats. And finally, yesterday, I had an opportunity to join with several other IT and technology education leaders in a virtual space sponsored by Meta. We were in Verizon workrooms where we had a conversation about the role of virtual reality in education. We met with Nick Clegg, who was Meta's president of global affairs, for a thought leader conversation about the future of immersive education. And we talked about how we're currently using VR for education, from virtual field trips to creating VR spaces in classrooms and having students create virtual reality environments as well for intercultural, multicultural learning and more. And it was really an honor for me to be part of that conversation. So that's a bit of how we're interacting with virtual reality at Bentley. Thank you, Diana.